Hey, we're Circa Waves and we're here chatting with Milky.
I think it's probably easier for me to answer that because I don't write the songs, so I think I have more of an outside perspective on it. But I think the newest album is sort of a condensing of everything that Circa Waves have sort of explored in the past. I think like as we progress as a band, it's almost like we're just like honing in on what a perfect Circa Waves record is. We're refining it. It's like cordial at the moment. It's like Ribena. Yeah. Yeah.
I guess it's kind of like there's a lot of about Liverpool, which is where we're from, and I guess like the longer we do this band and the more we tour and stuff, the more you realise how important the place you're from is, I guess, and how much of an identity it sort of creates within you. So there's a lot of that. And then like me being a dad was a big thing. Like I wrote a lot of songs about that and like fatherhood and what masculinity is, I guess, because that's confusing. And what else was there? I guess like everyone's just come out of COVID, so it was a bit of a rebirth of everyone and everyone trying to sort of find their feet again in the world because everyone went through such a mad time. So it was a bit of that, and Never Going Under as kind of a call to arms for everyone to sort of push forward and be bold and be positive. And that's what we wanted the record to bring out in people. A lot of it sort of starts in like with drums and big drum samples, which I'm a bit obsessed with. And then it goes into like, we went to this place called Rack Studios in London, which is legendary. I don't know who's recorded in Rack.
Paul McCartney, Adele, Radiohead, Sam Smith, Circa Waves.
Yeah.
We made our first record in Rack Studios, so it felt really amazing to like be back there, still working on music. Almost 10 years later, we're still there. So yes, we sort of decamped there for a couple of weeks, and there's just a lot of sort of back and forth. I remember we had like a big, we had like a weekend where we all got together in Liverpool, and all the demos were kind of out on the table, and we had a whiteboard up of like, okay, we've got these styles. How can we make it all fit together and like make sense? And it's the first time we've really done that in a really visual way of like charting it on a map as if you're sort of strategizing like how to move forwards. And I think that was a really successful tactic because it gives you that distance from it that I think sometimes you can get lost in the weeds a little bit when you're making a record. I would probably go with Do You Want to Talk? I just think it's the most instantly catchy song on the record. It's like the purest form of Circa Waves songcraft that I think we have so far. It's so direct and yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I would tend to agree with that really. I think it's certainly the most like Circa Waves sound. But I would also say maybe stuff like Electric City as well, stuff like that. It's kind of, we listened to like a lot of Brendan Benson and Supergrass back in the day, so it's kind of like that straight down the line, imagine you're doing like 90 miles an hour in a car kind of feeling. It was demanded by the record label.
I really didn't think you were going to go there.
So I just did it in like an hour in my house.
I think you got to think that the market is like this big, hungry monster that needs to be permanently fed with content, and so we're just feeding the beast, you know. Well, I think the great thing for us at the moment is like having been on the road for 7 years, whatever it was, before COVID happened. We were forced to take a 2-3 year hiatus. And now that we're touring again, it's almost like we've rediscovered the love of it that we had when we first started doing it. But now we also have all the skills and talent that we developed over the course of doing it for almost a decade. So I think now it's like these are my favorite shows that we've ever done because it's us at our best, really. Like, and we're having so much fun, and I think audiences feed off that because they can see it. Whereas before we were just like fucking jaded and tired.
Yeah, I always sort of say it equated to a bit like when you see those cows that have been like stuck in a barn for 5 years and they're let out and they all start jumping around.
In the most respectful way possible.
Yeah, I respect cows. So like it's not to compare the audience to cows, which I've just done, but there's like this feeling of just unbridled excitement that there's live music and loud music again, and you experience it with 500 to 1,000 people in a room, and it's just very special. And it's like I think everybody's realised that gigs are like therapy for everyone, like because once you get to go there and you experience it again after not seeing it for like 2 or 3 years, there's just this feeling of relief afterwards, which I think a lot of people didn't necessarily realise they needed as much. So yeah, it's really cool, and we also enjoy it a lot as well. I feel like it's so separate from writing songs. You almost become like a different character and become like put on like the sort of the rock and roll boots all of a sudden, and you put a show on, which is not necessarily like I just sit at home in like tracksuit bottoms and write songs all the time, and then when you go on the stage you become like this other thing. So it's really fun. It's like becoming like an actor each night, for me at least.
I'm always this fucking cool. No, I think it's those moments where you're on stage and you like make eye contact with someone in the audience and you just share like a moment and you have that human connection with them. They're like the best bits of being in a band for me. Is like it's just this transfer of energy where you're both feeding off each other, and when it's going well, it's like the best drug on the planet. It's like completely addictive. I think it's the time when you feel the most. It's the most I feel like I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing is when we're like performing on stage, I think.
For me, the Strokes.
Yeah, fair. Paul McCartney.
Tame Impala. I'm going to say Blue by Joni Mitchell. If there's another Top Gun, that one.
Yes. Nothing.
It really depends. It can either be like, I hope there's pizza after the gig, or it can be like, this is the greatest moment ever. I love our fans. It wildly shifts throughout each verse. Miley Cyrus. I don't really know.
I feel like Miley's got some edge.
Miley Cyrus's voice, I think, is one of the best modern pop voices. I love it.
Yeah, she is incredible.
Man in the Mirror for me. Used to jump around the couch singing that.
Nice. My first concert was so I'm from Wigan, which is the hometown of the Verve, and they did like a massive homecoming show after their Urban Hymns record came out, and so yeah, I went to go see them with my family when I was about 7, I think.
Do you know the Verve in Australia?
Yeah.
I saw S Club 7 first gig. Sick band. I think like the best concert for me was like the first proper rock concert, which was a band called Feeder, that I saw when I was like 16, I think, and it just blew my mind.
Best concert I've been to, maybe when I saw Radiohead when they did In Rainbows on that tour, and that was incredible.
Spice Girl.
Yeah, Spice Girl, easy.
Fennel.
Fennel Spice. Pasta Spice. We played Brixton Academy in London on the last tour that we did, and it was probably I think that's one of the best gigs we've ever played. I think everyone was just on top form. It was like the first tour back after COVID, and you could just feel like it was just this electric. Every gig was incredible, and that was like the last night of the tour, so it was just, yeah, perfect send-off. Yeah, well, there's a campaign at the moment called Broken Record Campaign, which the singer from Gomez,
Guy Garvey elbows in that, is he?
and Guy Garvey is part of it, and it's all to do with changing the way artists get paid from streaming. And I think that's a really important thing that's going on at the moment. But his name escaped. It's just like his name disappeared. The singer of Gomez. He's great.
So yeah, if that works, then he'll definitely make a massive impact on whether we get paid or not.
Stretch.
I mean, yeah, probably wise words.
Yeah, keep stretching.
I was on holiday and saw a Led Zeppelin cover band when I was like 8. And I was like, what is this? This is great. And I realised that you could do that for a job if you really tried. So